Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. Oh, I'm going to take my braces off. Hello everyone and welcome back to another mental health video on my channel. Woo, 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 woo. Saturday night, doo-doo. Monday evening and I like the way you do. Mental health. Another Mental Health Mondays on your screen. Woohoo! 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 The video starts at approximately this time. I'm just ramble for about like 3 minutes, so if you want to skip, then skip. Today I thought I would do a video all about motivation because I think motivation is one of the hardest things to grasp and to get locked down. It's really difficult because even if you don't have a mental illness, which this video is going to be more of like a preppy kind of like, I'm going to just talk at you rather than, normally I feel like I talk with you guys. Now I'm going to just talk at you and kind of explain how I've managed to create motivation in my life and build motivation really, because it's not so much about you have motivation, it's like, can you build up this motivation so it's sustainable, if that makes sense. So I've been working really hard recently on my motivation, and I think, well, not really recently, I'd say about 8 months ago, I really was like, no Marie, like we're gonna change. I want to be a motivated person who does stuff, who does what they say they're gonna do and doesn't slack or do anything. And I know this is so hard when you have a mental illness. Now I just want to say that you're not alone. I get so many messages from people who talk about how they don't have any motivation to get out of bed in the morning, they don't have any motivation to brush their teeth because they're not going anywhere, so why bother. And that is a really tricky place to be in. I've been in there before, and the only person that can pull yourself out of it is you. Now I'm not saying that it's an easy thing to do, but I'm not saying that it's impossible. It's not easy, but it's not impossible. That's what I meant. And it's really important that you grasp why you want motivation, not the end result of motivation. It's why do you want to be motivated, because that reaches you to the end point. You don't just get to the end point straight away. You have to build on it and build mastery over it. So that's what I'm going to be talking about today. If you aren't interested, then let me know in the comments and just say, nah, I prefer the personal videos. But if you prefer like every now and then just a little thing to spice it up on my channel, let me know. But yeah, let's just get into it. If you're not subscribed, then please subscribe. I upload weekly on a Monday or sometimes on a Thursday as well when I can, and I do mental health videos, I do vlogs, I do hauls, I do a little bit of everything, kind of. And I just would love it if you come and join our little fam, because we've just hit 50k and it's amazing. And also follow me on Instagram, on Twitter if you don't already, because they are my most active socials. So that's where you can get in contact with me through DMs or through like the little, like when I post stories about it. I'm always reposting your stories about whether you've got the book or whether you've watched my videos, and yeah. Just want to say a massive thanks, because I feel like I haven't said thank you in so long, but honestly thank you so much for all the support. It really means everything to me. Like, I can't imagine my life now without you guys. It would be so dismal and horrible, and I'm just so pleased and proud of all of you, and thank you for being with me on this journey. Right, let's get into the video. Motivation. What is it? What is motivation? The definition of motivation is acting or behaving in a certain way to get to a certain goal, basically. And it's a really tricky thing to lock down. It's not the easiest thing to do. I know that when I was depressed, I was not motivated for anything. But today I'm going to talk to you about some tips that I have regarding motivation, and I just hope they can help you in some way or just inspire you a bit, because when your motivation is 0, I always think if anything is 0, 0 times anything equals 0, so it gets you nowhere. So motivation is 0 times anything will just equal 0. So we need to get that motivation up, so when you times it by anything, you create an actual number and you actually get somewhere. I firstly just want to mention that it's okay to not be motivated to do things, and don't take this video as like me pressurizing or like showing off that I can be motivated to do things, because it's not that way at all. It's just like, I wish I'd had some tips when I was younger to kind of like inspire me to be a bit better, or to work, or no, not to be better, to work on myself more. Package. Sorry if that moved. That was a package. Yeah, so basically I just wish that I'd had someone to maybe inspire me to not be better like I said, but to work on myself a bit more, and to know that I wasn't so useless and I wasn't so hopeless, and that I did have an ability in this world to do things, and I was capable of doing things, because I really truly believe that I was not capable of doing anything. I didn't ever think that I would go back to education, because I thought I'm just not capable of doing that. And I think with motivation comes confidence, and I think when you're depressed, your confidence and self-esteem is so low that that is one factor as to why your motivation becomes so low. If we can get both of them up, we can get going, we can get the ball rolling. They're probably not going to be in that much of an order. I'll start with the easy ones basically. So the first one is to not give yourself too much time to do things. That is where people go wrong. Have you heard of people who say they've got an essay due in 2 weeks' time and they don't do it until the night before because they've had no motivation to do it prior to that, as they've had so much time on their hands that they haven't felt the need to do it? If you give yourself time, and too much time, you give yourself too much time to ruminate, you give yourself too much time to think, and that's when you start getting in a rut. That's when the negative thoughts start flying in. What I used to do is I'd get up and straight away when my alarm went off, I'd go 1, 2, 3, and on 3 I had to get up. That was my rule. I'm a very, I don't know why, but I'm just a very rule person, rule orientated person. I just set myself rules and I kind of have to obey them. I don't know if anyone else is like that. I don't know if that's normal. I've not really spoken about that before, but on 3 I would have to get up and get out of bed. And then once I was out of bed, it was straight away go and get breakfast or go and have a shower, because I didn't want time to sit in bed, wallow and think, oh, another day. Because that's what I used to do. I used to wake up and then I would sit in bed and for about an hour and just be like, I don't want to do this day. I've had enough already. It's only 7 o'clock in the morning. I've already had enough of today. This is too hard. And that's because you've given yourself so much time to be able to dwell. If you don't give yourself time to dwell, you can't dwell. Or if you feel like that's too difficult, give yourself time to dwell. Do the opposite and say, I'm going to have 10 minutes where I sit and wallow and dwell on why my life is shit, and then afterwards, after that 10 minutes, you're not allowed to dwell anymore. And I bet you, if you give yourself those 10 minutes, you'll sit there and you will go, oh my god, like I don't have anything to dwell about, because when you actually try and think negatively, it's actually quite difficult. So that's my first tip. My second tip is all about your perspective of life, of you, of your journey, of yourself, and the end goal that you want to get to. Now, these end goals will be different for everyone. I started off with very easy, I say easy, they were difficult at the time because I wasn't able to do them, but very simple, I'd say, and achievable goals that I could achieve within a day. And then I slowly built it up to, I have goals now that may take years to actually come to fruition, if that makes sense. So with giving yourself goals, I think it's really important to not set yourself unachievable goals, because that's just recipe for disaster, isn't it? It's just recipe for, oh, this went wrong, I didn't achieve this, therefore I'm gonna do this, or I'm gonna sit and hate myself, or, you know, anything. Give yourself achievable goals. I used to give myself the goal of every single day I would walk Albie, and this kind of leads on to another point of mine, so I'm gonna just divert and then come back. So in my head I've got to remember Albie, give myself a goal. Okay, I'm diverting right now. Making yourself accountable for other people will motivate you to do things. For example, walking my dog. I'm thinking, if I don't walk Albie, I'm not going to necessarily say that I'm a bad dog owner. I'm going to take it from Albie's perspective and think he needs to go for a walk, so I have to walk him. That's like bottom line. I just have to do it. And if you can make yourself accountable for someone else, it really helps to just think, it makes it more solid, and like you can grasp it and hold it, and just like, it might be a struggle, it might be like, oh, I've gotta go walk the dog, or say if you're going out and you don't want to go out but someone's picking you up, you can be like, oh, I don't fucking want to go out with today, but I don't want to let my other friend down. You're looking from their perspective, they want to see you, and inevitably everything you're doing is a positive thing. You're not setting yourself negative goals. You're not setting yourself, oh, I'm gonna self-harm so many times today. Like, fuck that. Like, you don't do that. It's setting yourself positive, achievable goals. And now I'm gonna divert backwards. So, with the perspective, I think it's good to kind of know yourself and have courage to be yourself. If you want to do certain things, then do them. Don't let other people hold you back. It's all about your perspective. Take a step back from your life and look at yourself and really get to know yourself, because I feel like people actually don't get to know themselves. They tell me like me and Pip were talking the other day, and I was like, I think me and you know ourselves so well because we spent so much time, like, say, in hospital, where you have nothing to do, you spend time alone. The only company you have is yourself, really, and you have to kind of get on with it. People say they have their me time, like when they're walking the dog, or, you know, when they're watching TV, but in reality that's not getting to know yourself, because you're walking a dog, you're doing something else, you're watching TV. That's just not what I kind of mean. I kind of mean actually sitting down and thinking, what is the type of person I am, and who is the type of person that I want to be? Now that leads me on to my third, I don't know, one of them. My next tip, anyway. It might sound strange and it might sound really like, can't do that, nah mate, just not happening. But if you start to behave and act like the person that you want to be, like the person that is in your end goal, because this video is kind of like, this video is not so much motivation to like go to the gym or like necessarily like shit like that. I'm talking about like motivation to improve yourself as a person and get yourself out of the stage of, oh, I can't move because I'm so depressed. So if you start acting like the person that you want to be, slowly but surely you actually start to become that person. Because if you think about it, it's very simple. If you want to be something, start acting like you want to be it. Start acting like you are it already. That's what I used to do. I remember I came out of hospital last year and I told the psychiatrist that the person I wanted to be was a person with a mundane life. I wanted to walk my dog, I wanted to go to work, I wanted to do YouTube, and I wanted to be able to sleep in my own bed. That was the person that I wanted to be, because at that moment in time I was a very vulnerable person. I was weak and in hospital and trapped and a bit lost. So I started to pretend already that I was the person that I wanted to be. Because I wanted to be that person, once I'd got out of hospital, 2 days later I went back to work, because I was like, if I want to go back to work, then the only step that I can take is by actually going to work. It sounds very simple, but it's actually very difficult to do, because you have no motivation to do it. But if you have an end goal, if you know what you want, if you can see what you want in the future, you will get there and it will be so good. Once I started to become the person with a mundane life where I just worked, I just walked my dog, I just made YouTube videos, and I slept in my own bed every night, I decided I wanted something bigger. And I decided that I wanted to become a student again and do my A-levels, because I didn't get the chance to finish them. And before I even started my A-levels, this is what I'm talking about. This is when it gets a bit more like the ball is rolling. The snowball is getting thick, like she thick. Why am I doing that with my hands? Sit on them, Marie, sit on it. Before I even started my A-levels, I started to behave like a student a bit. And that's not necessarily like the going out part of it, but I would set myself things during the day that I would have to do, so like a to-do list, and try and increase my self-discipline, because I knew that when I was gonna start my A-levels that I'm gonna teach them myself. Like, I have to be my own boss, and that's a difficult thing to do. It's not easy at all to self-discipline, but I decided that I wanted to start yoga, and I wanted to make sure that I saw friends, and that I kept up with YouTube, and that I didn't spend all of my time just scrolling through my phone aimlessly. And so when I started my A-levels, it became a lot easier. It wasn't like my motivation was at zero. It wasn't like I had to start from the bottom. I didn't start from the bottom, I was like already there. Started from the bottom now, yeah. So say for example, if you, I don't know, so you're depressed and you're finding it difficult to get out of bed every day, but you want to be a person that gets up and goes out to the shops every day, or goes out at least outside once a day. If you start behaving like that person, you will become that person, and the end goal is your motivation. The end goal is, if you want it so badly, it will happen, but you've got to just be careful, because if you don't actually want it that much, it's not going to happen. So don't set yourself a target of something that you don't truly want. You have to actually want it. You have to throw yourself into recovery. You have to want every aspect of it. And it's so important to remember that. So if you are a person that just wants to get out of bed every day and get dressed and go outside, because 20 minutes a day of sunlight actually lifts your mood, scientifically proven, it does. So go outside for 20 minutes every day. But you start to act like that person. I remember when I first had my CPN, and my CPN taught me so many amazing things. She was an amazing woman, and at the start I didn't really like her, because she used to come round and say, why are you in your pyjamas? Why are the curtains closed? Why are you acting like a sick person? Only sick people act like sick people. And I was like, who the fuck is this bitch coming into my house and telling me what to do? But in hindsight, and after a while, I started to realise that the reason I was feeling so low was because I was behaving as a low person. If I started behaving as someone who gets up and gets dressed, who has a shower, who eats regular meals, who goes outside, internally, I felt better, because it's like a fake it till you make it, but with yourself. So there's no pressure, but it's important to remember that you are capable of doing things, and acting like the person you want to be will get you to where you want to be if you believe in yourself enough. And the final two things, so I'm going to quickly flip through this one because I think people have heard it before, but affirmations. if you don't know what an affirmation is, it's something that you say like either aloud or internally, and it's like almost like a mantra that you repeat and tell yourself over and over again, because the way that you think and the way that you respond to situations is your perception. So the way you talk to yourself is so important. If you talk to yourself every day and go, oh, fuck's sake, I've got to get up, I've got to get out of bed, I've got to go to the shower, oh, I just can't be arsed, you're gonna not want to do any of those things. But if you say, like, this is what I do, and it's actually quite embarrassing, but I go, instead of going, oh, I've got to revise today, I go, oh, I get to revise today. And automatically my mood is a bit more like, oh, I get to do this. I'm lucky to do this. I'm grateful that I have the opportunity to do this. And it just deletes that cycle of decline that you can get into and that rut that you can fall into. So instead of saying I've got to do this, say I get to do this. Try it, it might work. And finally, give yourself fucking credit for your progress. This doesn't happen enough. People don't give themselves enough credit. They think that it's them like being selfish or too like nice to themselves, or they don't deserve it. No, give yourself fucking credit. The more you start being kinder to yourself, the more you start noticing that you are a capable person, the quicker you'll get to the place that you want to be, the quicker your motivation will increase. Trust me, it really does work, and it's so hard to do at first, but then it gets easier. This is one thing I want to tell you, that if you do what is that quote? If you do the easy things, life is difficult, but if you do the difficult things, life becomes easy. Because if you do the easy thing of not showering, not getting out of bed, not paying bills, not doing this, doing that, doing this, then you slowly become a depressed person, become even more depressed. You slowly have bills racking up and you don't respond to them. It creates a burden on you. Whereas if you deal with these things straight away, life becomes easier because life is free. At that point, life is open and just clear. There is nothing that is blocking your path to where you want to be. But if you don't do them things, then all these things come in and they barricade your path and you can't get through, if that makes sense. I'm trying to like put it visually, but it's really important that you do that, and the more you start being kinder to yourself, the further you're gonna get. So that is the video. I hope you liked my little pep talk. I feel like, you know Mean Girls, that gym teacher where he's like, no sex because you will get pregnant and die. Like, I feel like that. I'm like, motivation, do this, do that. Do you know what I mean? So I hope you enjoyed. If you did, be sure to give it a like. I'm actually getting shy. Oh, I don't like this. I'm not used to like being like, this is what you have to do. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, be sure to let me know, give it a like. Tell me if you've taken anything away from this video, because that would be good, because otherwise that's really awkward if you've just heard a load of bullshit and I've just rambled for too long, because it's already 20 minutes and I'm gonna have to cut this down. But I'm gonna love you and leave you. Stay safe and I will see you soon. Bye.